Hello everyone and welcome back to the Profits of Profit news channel. I'm Chet Donaldson and today we'll be covering the recent presidential election between Sean Q. Ferdolowski and Antoine Leroy, also known as the Auctioneer. Now a little bit we're going to talk about Sean Q. Ferdolowski's campaign trail. So he began when he made this amazing investment into a fat man holding a plate of bread. And since then he's been a heavy contender for this election. And this wasn't just any investment. This was actually an investment that Sean Q. Ferdolowski made at one of Antoine Leroy's auctions, where he bought it for a very, very low price at that auction, and since then, this investment has made him millions and millions of dollars, which Antoine Leroy has lost out on. Now, more recently in his campaign, he made this great investment into an ancient horn, and this investment just attracted the people like nothing else, and they loved the investment, and since then he's been the heavy favorite in this presidential election, completely outpacing Antoine Leroy. Now we do have an exclusive interview with Antoine Leroy and his opinions on this election and how Sean Q. Ferdolowski has tremendously pulled ahead. So without further ado, Roger Reynolds.
Thank you, Chet. Here we have Antoine Leroy, the heavy not favorite of the election. And Antoine, what are your thoughts on Sean Q. Ferdolowski?
Yeah, I don't think he has any chance. I see no integrity in him. I think he's a fake, he's a fraud, he's a bum, he's an absolute thief, and I don't know what the media's obsession with him is. I think the people are going to lock in and they're going to realize that I'm the better candidate and they should vote for me, not that bum whose name is Sean Q. Ferdolowski.
Interesting stuff here. Back to you, Chet.
Thank you, Roger. So I'd say those are some pretty interesting remarks from Antoine Leroy, to say the least. Because if we look at the numbers, it's pretty safe to say that Sean Q. Ferdolowski has a ton more momentum in this race, and I don't know where Antoine Leroy got all his confidence from. If we look over here, we see that the race is pretty tight between the two candidates, but then if we go a little further, right to the second, where Sean Ferdolowski made that investment into the ancient horn, we see he gains tremendous momentum in the presidential election, and he clearly gains a ton of support from the people. And Antoine Leroy, not so much. So to further prove this point, we can also look at the presidential campaign map. And here we see that Sean Q. Ferdolowski has nearly won every single state on this map, except for one, and that state is Nebraska. And you may be wondering, what did Antoine Leroy do to win over Nebraska? Well, if we look into the state's demographics a little further, we see that Antoine Leroy has done nothing to win that state. There are 4 people live in that state, and 3 of which are his grandmas. So I'd say it's pretty safe to say that that may play a role in why Antoine Leroy has that state won over. So overall, in conclusion, I think we can all agree that Sean Q. Ferdolowski's investment into the ancient horn was a genius and strategic momentum investment that has propelled him in his campaign. Speaking of, momentum investing is an investment strategy that involves buying assets that are in a strong trend and aiming to profit from the continuance of that trend.
So the main philosophy behind momentum investing is that strong recent performance, whether that is in the past few weeks or the past few months, will continue due to its momentum. So once a stock begins to move up in price, people will begin to purchase that stock. And this is due to the herd mentality, people thinking that it's about to jump up in price, so they will continue to buy it, moving it up in price. Now, momentum investors will ride the momentum of this and wait until it dies down a little bit, which is when people start to think that it's about to tank, so they start selling, which is when momentum investors will sell. So basically, momentum investors are riding the momentum and making profits off of people's emotional trading when they see the momentum dying down.
So technical analysis is when you use historic price movements, as shown by a candlestick chart, to make more accurate predictions about future price movements. And how people perform technical analysis is through using candlestick and chart patterns, using support and resistance levels, and plotting technical indicators, all of which you can use to help develop an investment strategy that helps you make more consistent trades and be more profitable with your trading. In our first video, we'll be going over how to use price action technical analysis alongside technical indicators to find momentum investments and ride strong trends that we can capitalize off of as momentum investors.
We'll then be going over the difference between long and short positions and how you can take advantage of both of those to profit on both uptrends and downtrends.
Next, we'll be going over how to use screeners like FinViz to find strong momentum stocks.
And finally, we'll be going over the application of momentum investing so that you can maximize your wins and minimize your losses with this fairly risky investment strategy.